Hey, what's up my dudes? James here, I'm back again with another upgrade for Blue, my 2012 Mazdaspeed 3. Because I'm going to be going in, removing my battery, removing my ECU, and the intake in order to get my fuel pump swapped out, I'm going to go ahead and install my turbo inlet pipe at the same time, because I don't want to have to do all that again. But in order to do that, I had to take my battery and my ECU out. So I'm thinking that I should be able to attach this to the stock intake, I believe, because it's literally just this rubber kind of like coupling device with a couple of like threaded clamps holding it in place. And my hope is that I can connect the clamps and just put them around the outside of the silver portions of my turbo inlet here. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and get the all of this pulled apart so that we can get a feel in here. So for those of you that have never taken apart the driver's side of your engine bay, it's really not that difficult. You need yourself a 10mm in order to pull the battery off. Whoop, that's the wrong direction. Loosen up the terminals here, and then we'll probably need some needle nose because there's plastic clips that are holding the wiring harness and all that sort of stuff up against the outer edge on the center side and the front side of the battery box itself. And we need a couple of a pair of needle nose pliers in order to pinch the back of that to pop those out. But, okay, and then with those out, we're going to be removing the ECU, which has just a little press clip here and a press clip here. So if you pop both of those, this little cover kind of comes right off. And then the ECU itself, on the outer edge, let me make a lot of noise here. On the outer edge, you've got these little white things, clip, whatever you want to call them, down in right here, which will release the little locking tab for the clip, while at the same time pulling up on the white portion of it. And then it should release, just like that. And the next step, to make our lives a lot easier, and because I'm doing it anyways, we're going to pull the intake out. So basically you've got your mass airflow sensor right here, unplug that. We'll take our 10mm right here, 2 clips, one there, one there. That'll lift the box, the upper portion of the intake off, and then we should be able to just wiggle this hose right off. And you do have another little plastic portion of the intake that goes into the bumper that you'll have to slide this out of. So the bumper portion goes right in, slips on top of here. There's no clamps or anything. And then you've got these 2 little nipples, one here and one here, that slide into your little rubber gaskets down there. So with that, this is pulled out. We'll set that off to the side. Oh boy, now we can take the battery box out. So next, looking down in here, we have our recirc line for the blow-off valve, or not the blow-off, the bypass valve. This one's a dual bypass blow-off, 50/50 from Cork Sport. But, so we've got a little clamp holding it onto the turbo inlet pipe down here. We'll get a pair of pliers in to squeeze that, just kind of pop that off. I'll probably pop it off from the bypass valve side, make it a little bit easier to wiggle it around. And then again, we're back with the 10mm right here for the coupling connector for the actual intake. I'll show you right here. So this is how the current one is sitting inside of the car, and there's a little rubber nipple down here, and that has a little pinch clamp and a tiny little tube that we're going to have to pull off in order to fit it here. And then the turbo itself has another hose clamp that is attached, which is going to be a pain in the ass to get to. And just like that, stock turbo inlet is out. And here's the COBB one. As you can see, it's a little bit thicker, which allows for more airflow or whatever. I don't know. I did get this one used, so I didn't pay the full premium cost of it. So my hope here is that I can just reuse the same clamp from before, and kind of finagle it in place here. But I don't know. I got a lot of tubes and hoses that are kind of in the way. Goes on all right. Now how the hell?
Hey, what is up, my dudes? James here, living life from dusk till dawn as always. It is a very stormy day here in western Florida. It is Christmas week, or the week after Christmas, and I'm on vacation. But because it's Christmas, I got some Christmas presents, specifically for Blue, my 2012 Mazdaspeed 3. And we're gonna put it in today, so I can't wait. There's a lot of upgrades that people do for their car in the car scene and the tuner kind of whatever. And a lot of them have great performance advantages. This one is one of those that will help with performance when I start actually tuning this car to go faster and have like a higher wheel horsepower number. But also, it sounds cool. There's only so many things that you can do to an engine that you have in a car in order to change how it sounds. One of those is your exhaust. I'm not doing an exhaust today, I wish. But the other one is your intake. So we're gonna be getting rid of this guy, this disgusting stock intake box, intake, whatever. And then we're gonna be installing the COBB tuning cold air intake. Let me pull out all the parts. We're gonna take a look and see what comes in the box. I got the full kit, and then we're gonna start ripping apart the front end of the car and throwing in this new cold air and kind of seeing, one, how difficult it is to put in, and two, what it sounds like, and three, maybe there'll be a little bit of difference in power because I have to throw in a different tune for the car, but we'll look at that here in a second. So let's check it out. So it turns out when you're not at your house and you're trying to do things, you don't always have the right tools. So, should have everything. So I got this box, and I got this box. There's a good amount of parts in here. This is separate. I got the little like anti-glare thing for the access port. I already put that on. And then you also get some really cool stickers in this, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out, and I don't really want to set them on the ground because then it's gonna get dust all over it. And I want it to look really good. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out all the parts. I also got little license, like vanity plate things. These all came pre-wrapped. I just pulled them out and unwrapped them because I was excited. But you have your new oiled air filter, and then of course the adapter for your mass airflow sensor and all that. So we got those, and of course the inlet pipe. A ton of bands, of course. Some nice COBB decals or stickers, and a mounting bracket. And each box came with a vanity plate. So the stickers are great though, because I can put them on my JBR sticker holder. I think it's called like a radiator shroud or whatever. This blue thing. I don't know if it's in the screen right now. And then this kit, or this half of the kit, I have a whole bunch more bands and clamps that I bought separate. We've got the intake box itself with adapter that we can connect our hose clamps to, and then the top plate to kind of seal it all together. Nice little COBB SF intake system vanity on top, which is super cool. I actually don't know how this would. I think it's like that. That looks about right. I think that's it. So something that I did get are these right here. I don't have all of them, just some of them. So I'm going to install a lot of the standard hose clamps, and then I'll just replace them once the rest of these get in. But Mishimoto makes gold versions, which are stupid expensive for no reason. Those ones are like, I don't know, 30 cents each. These ones are like $7 each. So is it worth it? You tell me. But because I'm going with the gold and blue accents, I wanted to be able to kind of show this off a little bit more. So I got these instead. So I only have two of them, and I'll probably put them deeper in since it'll be a lot easier to replace the ones that are higher up for now. But yeah, that's all the parts. There isn't a whole lot that goes into it. So going along with those gold accents, we have the Damon Motorsports gold mounts. I just did a quick test fit of the box. I'll show you what I've done with it. And you actually have to remove this bracket as well. So we're gonna pull this out because we don't need it anymore. As for the box itself, got it put together a little bit here. So we have the intake kind of coupler with the mass airflow sensor holder and whatnot bolted in, sort of. That bottom bracket right there is not tightened down yet because I wanted to get it aligned in the car before I tighten that down. And then the coupler for the intake tube running up into the fender or into the bumper screws in from the outside. And so you take that coupler and you slide it in through the inside of the box and screw it in from the outside. I took like 10 minutes looking at that before I figured that out. Also, there's only 3 bolts that go into the filter side because there's only 3 screw holes on the back. So I was thinking I was missing a bolt because there's 4 holes, but I'm not. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this chucked into the car or bolted in here, and then we'll go from there. Took a little bit of effort, but I did get that in there. I had to use a screwdriver in order to kind of open that hose, tube, whatever, up. But in order to do that, I had to take my battery and my ECU out. So you guys might have to do that, or maybe you'll get lucky and be able to do that first try, unlike me, but it's fine. To take that out, literally just unplug the battery, pull the battery, and then you take a little cap off the top of the ECU plugs, unplug those, and then it's 1, 2, 3 10mm bolts and the whole thing comes out. It's really easy. So moving on, I did reconnect our crankcase ventilation to that portion of the intake. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the battery ECU thrown back in, and the intake box itself. I might get this little portion of it done too before I put the intake box back in. The other thing we gotta do, and I'm gonna do that probably off camera, is we just have a regular Phillips head screwdriver. I'm gonna pull out the mass sensor and then just put it into the new intake. So I'm gonna do all that. So I went ahead and cut this piece, that little intake portion, throw that away. This is all we need. So you're gonna cut at the indentation after the second little rib bump, whatever you wanna call it. Could clean up the edge, that's a lot of work. And I'm pretty sure this is gonna be temporary for me because I got another idea for what I wanna do for the air coming into the front of the car. But with this, obviously I haven't put the intake box back in yet, but that's gonna connect there like this with the COBB lettering facing up, which means this needs to go on here. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger than it probably should be to fit in there. So I'm gonna just use a little flathead screwdriver and just make it work. So my dudes, I have made a mistake. The bracket, or the bolt that you're actually gonna be connecting to is this one from the transmission mount. So it's a 17mm to remove. You're not gonna be connecting to this one. You're gonna be connecting to this one. When I put it in that, it was a little bit too high. So that is the proper bolt to throw the intake box bracket to. All right, well, the next step is to actually tune the car. So if you guys are doing this, then most likely you have a COBB access port. Now, I'm sure the car would run, you know, with the stock Mazda tune and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure it would run, but it's not going to be running amazing. So with the access port, it comes with a few preset off-the-shelf tunes that, well, come with the access port. So we're going to go ahead and throw on the next stage, or kind of the next stage. It's the stage 1 plus, and the plus meaning the short or SF plus intake is what they call it. Spin you around here, then we're going to take our key, put it in the ignition, and turn it to on. Not start, but on. So it should kick on all of your systems and stuff. And then make sure your headlights are off and your air conditioning and everything. You don't want any extra power draw for any reason. And then we're going to go down to tune, change ECU map, and then it's going to pull up some data. And then we're going to scroll down to
stage 1 plus SF, and that is for the stage 1 tune and your SF intake. And I'm going to do the 91. There's a 91 and a 93, so I'm going to do the 91. So we're going to click the center button. Put you a little closer here. Now it's going to go ahead and identify the thingamajig. We can set our launch control. I'm just going to leave everything as the access port shows. So I'm going to hit the center button. You can adjust your idle up from the 700 or 650, whatever it is. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep that the same, so press the center button. It recommends connecting a charger so that your battery doesn't die while you're installing the map, because if for whatever reason the map or the battery dies, it could legitimately brick your ECU, so you should definitely do that. Either way, I am not going to do that because it'll be fine. Everything's fine, but I'm installing that right now. And then once it finishes installing, it'll run through a whole bunch of self-checks. You'll see the lights on the dash kind of flashing and changing, and then it'll tell you that it's complete and to turn the car off for 15 seconds. And then after you turn the car off for those 15 seconds, then you're good to crank it and drive away. All right, and we hit 100%. Clearing codes. All right, now it says take the key to off, wait 15 seconds, so we're going to do that, and then we'll crank it. And here we go. So we're going to do a quick comparison here. I took a couple of log sets. One was before the cold air intake was installed and one was after. They are both on the highway. The temperature is a little bit different between the two. I couldn't make it exact, so one of them is 54 degrees approximately for our intake temperature. That is the stock intake, and then the other one is going to be 65-ish, so about 10 degrees higher. And I was curious when I was installing the cold air whether or not I would see a difference in the delta between intake temperature and the boosted air temperature while we're doing the thing and driving. I would like to think that with less restriction and more accessibility of actual colder air, that the cold air inlet or cold air intake would have a smaller delta. Obviously, once you spool up the turbo, that's pretty much going to go to as low as it's going to go because the intercooler is doing its job. But just cruising down the highway, I was curious if there was a difference, so let's check it out. So here we have our two thingamajigs. So the left side is our stock, the right side is our cold air installed. And if you look at boosted air temperature on the stock, it is about 40 degrees apart, and it is about the same with the cold air intake on the right, and it like 2 degrees less. One thing that I did not test for is how quickly the temperature change is once you enter boost for dropping the boosted air temperature once you get a higher flow through the intercooler, but without any scientific data to back me up. It does seem like those temperatures converge very, very quickly, at least faster than it did with the stock setup. I didn't get a clip of that, so I am sorry. But that said, I figured I'd throw that data up there in case you guys were curious, and it didn't seem like it makes that much of a difference, and it does kind of make sense considering it's all still in the engine bay. But I was just thinking that with the ability to get more airflow into the engine, that there might have been more of a difference than there was. So let's go ahead and roll into doing a little bit of driving so you guys can actually hear some sound clips.
It's cold out there today. Had to stop at Lowe's and pick up some bolts and stuff, but I get coffee. Anyways, so we've got the cold air in right now, obviously, and we're gonna go for a little bit of a drive so we can do our before and after comparison of the sounds that come from the engine bay, which is a good thing. I'm excited. I will say I have been driving with the cold air in for about a week and a half now, give or take, and it sounds fantastic. So really happy with my purchase. We're gonna get over here. There's a light. Once that turns a green, then we can bring it up into boost and get some sweet intake sounds. Yay! Here we go. Green light. Then we're gonna enter boost right now. Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah, it sounds fantastic. Downshifts, you can hear a little bit of that kick of the throttle body opening up, a little bit of a kind of sound. It's so good. Love the sound of this thing. With that, my dudes, it was not a difficult install. The turbo inlet pipe was probably the most difficult thing, or difficult part of the install, and kind of finagling the airbox in. Not bad. Took me, give or take, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, just to do things slowly. But it's not difficult for anybody that's ever done anything on their Mazda, which if you're installing a cold air, you've probably messed with some other things at this point. You already kind of know the flow of how it comes apart and how it goes back together. But the main focus of the cold air is now I can start adding more power to the car, and it sounds cool. So, and it looks cool. It looks way better than the stock Airbox. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I totally forgot to film an outro, so I am at the desk doing an outro. So if you have enjoyed, then please come back and see me again. There's always more things that I'm trying to do on the channel, whether it's on my Tacoma or on Blue Lightning. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to live from dusk till dawn. See you, dudes.